Welcome back to episode 28 of Beyond the Game. We've got a lot to cover, man. With high school football, it's round three of the playoffs. College football rankings. My Tide, my Tide. We dropped after a tough loss last week to Oklahoma. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But we'll make some picks and talk about some games we got today. I'm your host, Jordan Barrett, joined by the quarterback Brandon Bullens. How you doing today, Brandon?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. We had a wonderful and wild weekend of football last week, so excited to talk about it.
Yeah, it's never know what you're gonna get. This is they say this is why we play the games. But last night, man, it was another wonderful Friday night. Some teams got a step closer to that state championship, and others played their last game of the season. We'll start with that Mooresville versus Reagan. I think this is probably the best game that Reagan has played this season. Um, they both teams came into this game 9-2. Mooresville was on a 7 game win streak, and Reagan was on a 6 game win streak. This game was tied up at 17 going into the half after Mooresville went into the second quarter up 7-3. Neither team scored in the third. Both teams had a touchdown in the fourth, but the late game swings, man. Mooresville they had the lead. Reagan just had the ball last. They answered with a touchdown pass and a 2 point conversion to take the lead and win the game. Um, the game, if you're Reagan going into this game or after this game, you just have to look at like you don't think there's anybody that can really beat you after this. Being able to get this win, playoff a playoff win really on the. I'm pretty sure they were on the road at Mooresville, in a tight game. This is what I would say is a real team building win. For Brandon for Reagan, um, just to win by one point like this in a playoff game. What would you say this does for like the maturity, the coaching staff, and just like the like what does this do for to see that they can really execute in high pressure moments?
Yeah, that's a big time win for Reagan. From a coaching staff and a player perspective, if you're looking at it and you can say, hey, we've been in this scenario before, as in the next round, even for example, or next season, where they say, hey, we're in a close situation, but a lot of our guys have already been here before. That lets you know as a program you're taking the right step um, to winning those kind of close games. So I would not be surprised if Reagan over the next over the next round or even leading in the next season, they'll win a couple more close games, especially even if they're down early in those games and they can come back and get a good win.
My bad. I'm having a little bit of technical difficulties with my lighting. My lights just went out, but whatever. But my bad. I didn't really get to even hear
Yeah,
what you were
you're good.
saying.
I was saying just as a whole, Reagan is able to collect this win. It's going to give them a lot of confidence leading into the next time that they play a close game.
Yeah.
And essentially, as a coaching staff and as players, you have that experience to say like, hey, we might be in a close game now, but we've been here before. We've gotten the win before. Let's just execute again. And that way, you have that kind of competitive edge over an opponent who might only have been there for the first time in that specific scenario.
Yeah, yeah. Because I mean, you look at their next round. I think they've got Grimsley, and Grimsley just been really blowing everybody out this year. But just if you're Reagan, like if you're the coaching staff at Reagan, how important is it to really be able to have like to have trust in your players in a situation like this to be able to even be able to go for a 2 point conversion? Like kind of speak to that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it sounds like they wanted to be aggressive. They wanted to finish the game right then and there. I think
Yeah.
it's a like I said, just an overall aggressive move, and some coaching staffs are more aggressive than others. Some are more conservative.
Oh my, man, we having some technical difficulties today. But as Brandon
Than
was
others.
saying,
It looks like Reagan was able to.
oh, go ahead. You kind of went out for a
Oh,
little
I'm
bit.
here. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, gotcha. Sorry. I was saying it just overall some more coaching staffs are more aggressive than others,
Yeah.
and it looks like I don't know how the game kind of unfolded in this scenario, but it looked like that Reagan wanted to be aggressive in that kind of scenario. Maybe they saw something on film, had a good 2 point play that they wanted to execute. I remember you remember being in high school. We would have those kind of plays, and you practice them for 3, 4, 5 weeks before you ever
Oh
even
yeah.
bring it out in a game, just so
Yeah.
those very very minute details get perfected before you ever even step out on the field. So it wouldn't surprise me if they had done that, and it was obviously a perfect time to call it right there in that scenario.
Yeah. Great. I'm 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 an offensive minded guy. I'm always go for two in a situation because I'm let's get the game over with for one, and especially when you feel like from an offensive coordinator standpoint, you have the ability to draw up a play and that you know will get your guys open. Let's run it. Like let's empty the clip. Let's run everything we've got, and that's what they did to get this win. I hope that this didn't take too much out of them going into next week because they do. I mean, they're only making the trip to Greensboro, but they do have to go on the road and play Grimsley, who is really just known for their defense. And I mean, not just defense, but they're known for their ability to score points too. Like I think we kind of look back at the game that they had with West this year, which they it was a close game, probably the closest game they've had this year. Um, like I think Reagan can win this game, but Brandon, if you're Reagan, how do you think they should attack this matchup? Um, after winning a game like this.
You're going to have to neutralize Reagan's best players on both sides of the ball. Now they have a shit ton of guys that can make plays all across the field, but you're just going to have to kind of pick your poison. Obviously, you're going to have to play your best game as
Yeah,
a player. You're going to have to coach your best game as a coaching staff. And overall, I mean, you're just gonna have to play really well, coach really well. Like I said, neutralize their best players to the best of your ability, and with a little bit of luck, like you said, who's not to say you're looking at the fourth quarter and you're in a one-score game.
yeah,
That's the same exact thing that West Forsyth did. I know we remember that kind of. I'll call it what it is, a fluke touchdown,
yeah.
where
It
the guy dropped the
was.
ball and they still called it a touchdown. And in that scenario, if West Forsyth gets the ball back with 3 minutes left, it's a one-score game.
That's a good game.
It's, so if Reagan's in that kind of scenario, just after we saw from this past week, they definitely have the playmaking and coaching ability to go out and win a close game like that for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing though is I think no coach is going to just flat out tell their team that they're outmatched going into a game, but
Mhm.
your coaching staff is going like I think this coaching staff is going to tell this team not only can we win, but if we can get into the fourth quarter and make this a one score game or one possession game, we can win this game. Like we've got the confidence. We've done it before. So I definitely this is a game that I think will be very very interesting. But I just worry about Reagan. Um, yeah, I kind of Reagan and East played this year.
Yep.
East did East beat Reagan?
No, Reagan beat them like 28-6, something ugly.
Okay, okay. Oh, I'm thinking about Northern Guilford. That's the game I'm
Mm.
thinking about. That's the game. Yeah. So yeah, hey, I I I've never really thought of Reagan as one of those teams, but I guess here we are. Um, how many rounds are there in the? They have 5 or 6.
It's 6 now. They upped
Okay,
it from 5 to 6 a couple years
okay,
ago.
okay,
Yeah,
okay. So this is quarterfinals.
I think yeah. What is this round? They're going into round 4
They'll
now.
go be in round 4 next week. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think that'll. Who you got in that one, Brandon?
Reagan and Grimsley.
Yeah,
Hey, like I said, like we've kind of said all season, there's hasn't really been a team on paper or on a field that we think can
yeah,
go out and beat Grimsley. So I'm gonna stick with those
yeah,
dogs over there.
yeah. Yeah, like you said, they just have to. They're just too talented. Like, granted, they're a well coached team, and you see that when you can play a freshman quarterback and continue to win games. But they're just too talented. Like uh, they just got guys at every position, and then they've even got guys to back up those guys, as we've seen throughout the regular season. Um,
Literally, guys
yeah,
back up by their guys.
yeah. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go with you on that Grimsley pick. But looking at some of the other scores from around the state, Southeast Raleigh got the win against Cleveland, 49-37. Myers Park loses to West Charlotte, 34-21. Reedsville, they just keep rolling. They get the win over Eastern Wayne, 41-24. And then Dudley. This is a game I kind of want to touch on. Dudley ends up losing this one, 7-15, 15-7 to Ashbrook. Um, Ashbrook remains undefeated, and Dudley ends the season 8-5. But Dudley was able to get on the board to score the first touchdown, and they had scored in the first quarter, but they just couldn't get anything going after that. Ashbrook also got a safety in the first quarter. Their only touchdown came in the second quarter, and from there they kicked 2 field goals. Ended up getting the win 15-7. Um, Ashbrook's defense is just continued to be dominant all season long. Um, According to Max Preps, they've only been allowing about 10 points a game. Um, yeah, yeah, that's crazy. Um, so I just think Dudley kind of ran into a buzzsaw last night for Ashbrook. Though Brandon, how big is that? Like their first points weren't a touchdown; they were a safety. Just how big is that to have those defensive points in a playoff game like this?
That's huge. It's absolutely huge. You know, if your first points of the game or at any point during the game, if you're getting a safety, that is a
Yeah,
humongous momentum shift. Um, and like you said, for it to be in a playoff game, on you're Dudley was on the road in that game, correct?
yes,
Okay, so you're at home as Ashbrook. Your first points of the game are a safety. That just sets the tone as a whole for what the game is going to be. And yeah, I mean that's just a hats off, good job, pat on the back kind of scenario for Ashbrook. I'm sure Dudley's not too happy about it, but obviously they got some stuff they're going to watch a film on, and then whenever they get into the playoffs again next year, they're going to have some stuff they're going to collect from this and be better in the next time that they face each other in the playoffs.
yeah, yeah, definitely. But they, like I said before, they kind of just ran into a buzzsaw because that's that's just crazy. And then I don't know. I'm not really sure if Dudley scored a touchdown first or if they got the safety first. But if Dudley scored the touchdown first and then Ashbrook got the safety, that safety was that turning point in that game because
Hmm.
that safety was is what really set the. I'm not gonna say set the tone, but it changed the game. I mean, football is so much of a game of momentum, and when you have the momentum, how many points can you score? How big can you make the lead? And just you just got to minimize the mistakes. And I'm not really sure how they got into the position to get a safety to even allow a safety, but you can't you can't do that, especially not in a playoff game.
Yeah.
Um, but like Dudley, they like their first touchdown was on the ground. It was a rushing touchdown. Um, and I think, and I could be wrong, but if you're kind of able to get that a rushing touchdown, I feel like you've kind of established that you can run the football. And I
Hmm.
feel like running the football is the first step into having a successful offense. But so Brandon, why do you kind of think they weren't able to really build off of that momentum?
It's tough to say, you know. I think as a whole, you have to look at Ashbrook's defense. For them, like
Yeah,
you said, defensively, they've only given up 10 points on average throughout the entire season, which is extremely impressive. You know, you're giving up
at any
less
level.
at any level, yeah. You're giving up less than 2 scores a game. That's really really good as a defense. And so you know, you look at that. I think Dudley, obviously they understood that was going to be a focal point. Is like, hey, for us to win, we're going to have to break their tendency or their
Hmm.
defensive average and go put up a 21 points to give us a fair shot in this game. And you know, like you said, being able to establish the run is going to be a good start. But once you start getting into that late or you know early fourth quarter, mid fourth quarter, and you're still down a score, you're going to have to start airing the rock. And you know whether they were able to efficiently do that or not, I'm not sure. But like you said, if they were able to run throughout the entire night, it probably would have helped them out a little bit more.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But what kind of message does this send for like about like the importance of like I just being able to like your defense essentially won this game. If you're Ashbrook, and so like is this would you kind of say that this is like a identity defying win, like to really, hey, we are a defensive team. Like, granted, that 15 points is the lowest, least amount of points that Ashbrook has scored all season. Um, but they still found a way to win, and so like I think this was like a. I mean, granted, they're 12-0, but this was a. At least I would say this was a not just season defining, but like a kind of culture defining moment for this team.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I would definitely say identity
Yeah.
defining moment. Like you said, if your defense, as we've already touched on, has only given up 10 points on average, and you go out and you are in a close game like this, a one-score game, but the final score is less than what 21, 22 total points. That
Mhm.
lets you know this was a defensive slugfest for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Hey, we'll keep an eye on Ashbrook though, because the way they're rolling, they might go and win them a state championship. But looking at some of the other scores, Lake Norman, after really a pretty dominant win against East Forsyth last week, they just flat out got embarrassed last night against Weddington. Weddington got the win 42-7, which is kind of crazy. And I think they're the two one seeds in that 7A might be who is playing for a state championship. Um, yeah, between Grimsley and Weddington, I think we'll just see what happens. But Grimsley able to get the win over Jack Britt, 55-12. And then Huff, I did not even. I meant to fix that score. I did not fix that score on that graphic. But Huff got the win over West Forsyth, 28-10. All right, this is another game I kind of want to talk about. Who's gonna beat these guys? Huff has improved. They're 12-0. After West loses last night, they lost. After that loss last night, they end the season 10-3. Before we really start looking at this game, we were talking about kind of the way West Forsyth played Grimsley. Granted, Faison Brandon was out of the game, but into the fourth quarter it was a one score game.
Hmm.
In this game, West Forsyth didn't have a chance. Um, excuse me, but West Forsyth just really didn't have a chance. They only had 3 points in through three quarters. They ended up having a late touchdown in the fourth, which gave them 10 points. Um, but like the game was mainly decided in the third quarter. West Forsyth still kind of had a chance. It was 13-3 um, before The quarterback Ethan Royal had a 30-yard touchdown pass to freshman Mason Pearsall Brown to go up 20-3. And from there it was pretty much over. West Forsyth had a late touchdown pass in the fourth, um, which, like I said before, cut the lead to 28-10. But they just weren't really able to do much on offense last night. For West, though, after a strong regular season, Brandon, why do you think they just really couldn't execute in this game on the offensive side?
Well, I've obviously been in contact with a lot of the West Forsyth guys previously, and so I kind of
Mm-hmm.
know a little bit about what they're trying to do offensively, right? And that's they want to establish the run, continue the run, and finish with the run. Everything in between, their passing game is going. They have playmakers. They have a couple guys that are going to go to college receiver wise, so they have playmakers on the field, right? But it looks like start to end, they want to dominate the trenches, right? And without that execution, they're you kind of live by the run and die by the run. And it looks like
Yeah.
when you face another team that is just as good at stopping the run, you're going to end up dying by the run, right?
Yeah.
Live by it, die by it. They died by it last night. So in here's the thing: you're looking at a 13-3, a 20-3 game. That's a 17-point game, right, or a 10-point
Mm-hmm.
game. That's not the end of the world if you have enough time and if you're scoring a lot of points offensively. But like you said, if you're looking late third quarter, you're down
Yeah.
17 and you've only put up a field goal. Yeah, like that's when you kind of know we're done. But if a 17-point game, but it's a 40-57 shootout, like, and it's middle of the third, you still have a shot,
Yeah.
so if it's one of those crazy high scoring games. But either way, yeah, it looks like West just wasn't able to execute the run game like they were hoping to last night.
Yeah. I just think this is what I kind of think, like we've been saying about schools like Grimsley. This is just one of those. This school's just a bad matchup. Like just for just about anybody. Because they have the athletes on the outside and the athletes inside to their front seven can stop the run, and they also have the athletes like they have a corner that's going to South Carolina. They have the guys on the outside too that can play and match up. Like so, you're not going to see. You're probably going to continue to see those 6-man boxes with two safeties high, and they're going to go man. They're going to man up across the board, and not allow anything. Safety's not probably just going to get a cover 2-man look a lot of the
Hmm.
game, especially when you run the ball the way West Forsyth does,
Hmm.
and when and it's just a my guy better than your guy, and it just came out Huff just got they just have more guys. Like it just that's just all it comes down to. I think. But for Huff moving forward, do you think they'll face any challenge? Like, what kind of challenges do you expect these guys to face, or like, do you think anybody can beat them?
I think there's only a couple teams in the state that could truly give Huff a good run or even beat them, and that's going to be the teams that we've already talked about today. That's going
Yeah.
to be the Grimsleys. That's going to be, West Charlotte even could give him a good run. But, at the end of the day, man, these teams like Huff are just so, like you said, just loaded with talent. They're coached well, and West Forsyth and another coaching staffs and whatnot in and around the state. They have their head coach usually is like
Mm-hmm.
the gym mind, the
Yeah.
gold mine in terms of like, hey, this guy has so much football knowledge, but a school like Huff and Grizzly, they're gonna have 5 or 6 coaching
Coaches. Yeah.
coaches that
Yeah.
know that are the gym minds. So Western Scythe, it's all kind of or just schools like that where it's the one guy. It's very tough to try to out scheme and out coach
Yeah.
whenever there's on the other side of the field, literally 53 yards away, is 6 of you coaching against your one. So just from a number standpoint, you're already down. But like you said, with the athletes on top of it, you're going to be down and out.
Yeah. I think at this level, coaching. I think, of course, as you start getting up college, NFL, coaching matters tremendously. We see it week in and week out. But I think at this level, you have just like in the skill or talent gap, you have a wider gap in the coaching ability. And
Hmm.
so when you have a decent, average, or good or even a great coach, like you were just saying, if you like that great coach is probably your head coach. Okay, but these guys have a, let's just say, a good coach as their head coach, but then they have 4 or 5 great position coaches. Like,
Hmm.
and it's just those things just kind of add up over time, and it's not. It's just as a head coach at that school where you are kind of the, I'm not gonna say the only guy, because guys believe you built your coaching staff, you believe in the guys that you brought in to coach your team,
Hmm.
but we just see situations like this.
And one of the things too, and I'm not picking on West Forsyth. I like all the coaches over there, great people, but and once again, not talking about West Forsyth specifically, but these some programs literally just pull the history teacher and say, "Hey, come coach
Yeah,
football for an extra
yeah,
$500." Like, and they're just okay. And so, some programs like that just
yeah.
they
I
literally just pulling people off the street to come coach,
Yeah,
and
which
that's where the difference really starts to show.
yeah, I mean, especially when you look at schools, like I'm not exactly sure. Like Grimsley's ranked top 10, 15 in the country right now.
Hmm.
Like they're just on a roll. But you start looking at some of the schools that they're ranked up there with. A lot of these are private schools. A lot of these
Hmm.
are schools that are putting millions of dollars, pumping millions of dollars into their football program every year. And so, like, these coaches aren't, most of them are just football coaches at these higher level schools. Most of them are like, this is what they do. And and I just think, to your point, you look at schools like, just in this state, I think as a whole, because I think, I just think you do have some of those upper level schools that have coaches, but just even some of the coaches that are good are still, some of them you'll see they just start teaching a class or something, and that just takes their time away from really being able to coach and be efficient at a high
Yeah.
level. Um, Especially when you look at the biggest thing between high school, college, and NFL is just like the amount of time that coaches have with players, and like that development, and it's the lowest at the high school level. And so I guess I just look at it as a coach, you gotta really be able to put your players in the best position for them to succeed. And when you're taking your time away from that with other things, I guess this is kind of what you get when you get to the upper echelon in the
Yeah.
playoffs.
Yeah.
Um,
100%.
but some other two other games I kind of wanted to look at. Walkertown was rolling. Their season has come to an end. They lost to Eastern Randolph 30-14. Um, and then a small school. They've kind of been dominating in college. I mean, not college, but in basketball, uh, whether it's winning state championships or playing for state championship. Farmville Central, they're a smaller school. Um, I think they could go and win another state championship. Well, win a state championship in football this year. But that's enough of high school football. We'll look at the sorry college football rankings that have come out. Man, it's week 13.
Mm.
Um, and Tuesday we got our rankings. Ohio State. We didn't really have any movement in the top three, even though I think we definitely should have. I don't know how you look at that Texas A&M game against South Carolina as, okay, Texas A&M played their worst half and then came back and probably played one of their best halves. Um, I don't know, Brandon. What are your thoughts on it? Like, yes, they remain undefeated, but after that, you can't unsee that half of football that we saw from Texas A&M.
Yeah, yeah, agreed. And it's one of those things where, like you said, they were at the end of the day still able to find a way to win. Was it pretty? No, at least not in the first half. And they fought back hard and ended up, like you said, having one of the greater comeback stories of the entire season. Um, but yeah, for a team that is supposed to be a top three team in the country, that's, as we talked about before, it's dangerous for teams to go play on the road. But if you're a top three team in the country, you should be able to go play on the road and put up more than, I think it was, what, 30-3 or 27-3 at halftime. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's
It's
completely
30-3.
unacceptable from a top three team. So I'm not going to disagree with you. I think there should have been at least a little bit of movement. Um, in terms of top three. And who's not to say that if it was a closer game all the way throughout and they only won by 1 point, they wouldn't have moved down a little bit. I think just because of what the committee saw in that second half, that's what kept them at the top three.
This committee has done their rankings on what they call the eye test, which I think is still bullshit. Like just being real. Um, but for a team whose best win of the season is probably over 22 ranked at the time was 22 ranked Missouri. For you to go, I believe they were actually at home. No, they were on the road. They played at South Carolina. For you to beat a bad, I don't want to call them bad because they still have talent, but this team is not. That South Carolina team is not good by any means. They probably played one of their best games of the season the year before. I mean, the week before that against Alabama. But this is not in any way a kind of look at them as a Mississippi State. That they have they're a pretty good team. They have talent. They can beat anybody, but they're not really supposed to win games.
Hmm.
And so for you to be getting beat by 27 points at halftime, and like you had to play the way that you did in the second half because of the situation you put yourself in the first half.
Yep.
And so I think they should have dropped. But that's neither here nor there. Um, we got Georgia at 4, Texas Tech at 5, Ole Miss at 6, Oklahoma at 7, Oregon 8. Notre. This is where I start to get upset. This is where I start to get upset. Notre Dame at 9, Bama 10, BYU 11, Utah 12, Miami 13, Vanderbilt 14, and USC 15. Brandon, if you were the selection committee, are you prioritizing undefeated being undefeated, your strength of wins, avoiding bad losses, or all of the above?
Hmm. That's a really good question. The first two that I would look at is schedule, or excuse me, like overall standings if you're undefeated, and then strength of schedule. I think if you're 8-0, but you are in a group of five school, you still should be ranked. I mean, to just
Yeah,
generally put, because like as we talked about last week, teams like JMU and North Texas and um, USF, those schools are damn good at football. But for them to not even be considered in the rankings, I think is a bit of BS, especially
I
when
agree.
there's teams that are 2 to 3 loss at the end of the season, and they're still a top 15 team. I think it's a bit outlandish. But
But
there's
just to your point though. But then you got one loss Georgia Tech at 16th in the country. Like,
yeah, yeah, that doesn't make sense either. Because I mean, yeah, they took a, an ugly 2 score, 3 score loss to an unranked team. But once again, who hasn't in college football these days? You
who
know,
hasn't?
you see everybody really outside of the top three, four maybe that are still undefeated. Everybody else is taking that ugly loss. So I don't see why Georgia Tech specifically has dropped so far. And like we are saying, just overall, there's undefeated teams, but you need to rank them.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think we take strength of schedule um into consideration enough. And it's like we want to schedule these big games, we want to see these big games played, but we're not rewarding or we're over penalizing teams for playing these games. Um, Granted, Alabama versus Oklahoma, that's a conference game. These games going to be played regardless. But like Lane Kiffin was saying, strength of schedule done. Like it won't move you up in the rankings, but that shit'll get you fired.
Hmm.
Like like you got like look at Florida, Billy Napier. Like Florida's been bad for these past. I mean, they've been bad for a while, but you look at the past 3 4 years, they've probably had the hardest schedule in the SEC.
Yeah.
They're, and then you look at a team like Oklahoma. I mean, Texas A&M. They don't play. They don't play Oklahoma. They don't play Alabama. They don't play Georgia. They don't play Missouri. They play Missouri. They don't. They just when you look at kind of they don't play. They miss Ole Miss, and so it's like the best team in the SEC that you've played to this point is Missouri. I think Texas A&M plays. They got Texas at the end of the season somewhere. Yeah. So your best two games are going to be against Missouri and Texas. Neither of those teams are powerhouses in the SEC
Hmm.
right now, and I just don't. I don't. I'm just not here for these rankings. At
And
this
it,
point, go
crazy
ahead.
thing is like you can be one of those teams that that we're saying for an example, you can only play two quote unquote ranked or tough games a season and still be in the top 10 based off what this
Is
committee
what
is
the
doing,
committee is saying. You can hell.
which
You can
is
be number one if you don't play anybody good.
that is which is it's insane. It's blasphemy
Insane.
because you see teams like, okay, let's just say this for example. Florida has this season has the toughest schedule out of anybody in the country. Who's not to say that they were a two or a three loss team? I
I think
would
they
like
still
to.
should have been number. They should be top five if they were a three loss team with the schedule that they had.
That's my point because they are still considered one of the best teams, even with their two to three losses. Um, but then again, you'd also like to see those group of five schools, or even those. We'd rather see the Florida that's a three loss than this, Ohio State who's only played one tough game the entire season. Let's put it like that.
Yeah, and my thing is too is like you look at schools like the Ohio States, the Michigans. Michigan's had a pretty good schedule this year, but you look at the Ohio States, and it's like not only do you not play anybody throughout the regular season, but then when we get into the playoffs, you're healthy. Like that's my thing. We talk about nutrition and being healthy is probably the biggest thing in the game of football. Ohio State is getting to the end of the season healthy because they haven't played anybody. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, okay, no disrespect to these teams. Like, yes, this is still football; it's a physical game, but it's different getting hit by somebody. You get hit by a guy that's 6'2", 215. Okay, you get hit by a linebacker, or you get hit by a linebacker that's 6'4", 240. Like, you let me know what you like. And it's just like you go through a whole game or week in and week out, and you're just taking those hits, those punches. Like, and that's just my problem because then I look at Alabama. Alabama's whole problem this season has been stopping the run and running the football. Okay, stopping the run we've gotten a little bit better at throughout the season, but running the ball is because our fucking running backs have been hurt
Yeah. Yeah.
because they've had to play a Georgia, because they've had to play a Tennessee, because they've had to play Vanderbilt, because they've had to play Oklahoma. Like, to drop us behind fucking Oregon, behind Notre Dame. are you are you serious?
Especially after seeing we talked about it Notre Dame, the non-conference thing. That's another situation. But Oregon, who have they played? I mean, they played
They
an
got
okay.
beat by damn Indiana, and that's the only reason why Indiana's number two is because you think Oregon's a good team.
Yeah,
No, no, neither of them are good. How about that?
this is the same Oregon team that only beat Penn State by 1 point.
About
Penn
what?
State, Penn State by one
Let's
point,
talk
and
about it.
we've seen how bad Penn State has been this year.
Let's talk about it. Whatever. Move Alabama to the Big Ten and see how many damn like hey, what the fuck are we doing, bro? Like, I don't know. I just have a problem with this, and at this point, this is about as bad as the BCS system. Like, the whole point of having human beings pick the game is so that we don't have situations like this. Just being ranked higher based off of having more wins, like, or having a better record. Like, go back to the fucking computer at this point. I don't
Yeah,
care. Like,
yeah.
go back to the computer, man. Before we get into the ass whooping that NC State put on Florida State, okay? Does Shane Beamer lose his job?
Mm, that's tough. Oh man, that's so tough. Should he? I don't.
They've underperformed
No,
so much.
I don't think. I don't think he will. I think he's done some good things previously where he's done enough to keep his job even after this season.
That's fair. That's fair. Are there any teams in the top four that you think will fall out, and if who, why?
So top four again is Oregon, or excuse me, Ohio State, Indiana, who's A&M.
in Georgia.
and Georgia. Okay.
Hold on, I just want to say too before we get into that, if the season ended today, Alabama's still playing for SEC championship.
Yeah.
But we're number 10 in the country. Man,
Yeah.
yo, go ahead.
Lord, I don't think any of those are gonna move. No, I don't think they will. I think they'll just keep them where it is for right now, unless there's a drastic change,
Texas
a drastic
A&M,
loss.
Texas A&M will not be there at the end of the season. Whether they're playing Alabama or Georgia in that SEC championship, they will be in for a rude awakening. I want Marcel Reed's head. I want his fucking head because I'm tired of the way they be talking about this man. He's not he's good. Don't get me wrong. But damn it, they're acting like this man's the fucking second coming of Johnny Manziel out here. Like hell no.
How many more weeks of college do they have before the championship week?
Two,
Is it one? Okay, two.
two. Well, it might be three. This is week
They're coming up on week
13.
13. Yeah.
So I think they're 15 weeks in the 14 or 15 weeks in the season
Yeah.
because they have two buys. They play 12 games, but then you also have Army versus Navy, and that's the nobody plays that week except for those bums.
Gotcha. Um, yeah. I don't know, man.
I don't mean to
For the
call them
next two
bums,
weeks, they're protecting our country, Jordan. Come on. Out of those top four, it's gonna be tough for any of them to really move around. Even if they do, like, I think they've done enough this season where unless they lose these next two games, they'll probably still be there by the end of the year, top 12 at least.
only game I've been rooting for Arch Manning will be in 2 weeks when I
Yeah.
hope they beat the dog shit out of Texas A&M.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, but Friday night, Florida State only scored 11 points against NC State. NC State got the win 21-11 and became bowl eligible under Dave Dorn for the 11th time. Dave Dorn, I will say as a fellow North Carolinian, you have not done shit for NC State, okay? You have not done anything but keep them at the same. They have on paper, week year in and year out, they're better, but they continue to be the heart attack pack. Okay, they win. You don't know if they're gonna win or lose week in and week out. Okay,
Yeah. You don't. You really don't.
they win games they not supposed to, and then lose games that they supposed to win. All of my life, whether it's been football, basketball, soccer, field hockey, I don't know what they care what they're playing. This has been the story behind NC State. They just can't get it done. The Wolfpack, their corner Devin Marshall had 2 interceptions, and 5 pass breakups.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a game right there, brother. But even after as bad as Florida State played on offense, their defense still gave them enough chances to win. But there are 3 phases to the game. There are 3 of them. Special teams miscues by Florida State were pivotal. Back to back miscues on punts. The
Yeah.
first one, okay, the first one, I can't even get mad at the guy. He was doing what coaches tell you to do. Run to the sideline. He was running. He was trying to get there. Ball just bounced off his back. Okay. But the second, bro, you muffed the punt. Both of these in the final 4 minutes of the game. It's
Hmm.
a one possession game still at this point,
Hmm.
and you can't get it done.
Yeah. I saw the clips of that this morning, and I was shocked. Like you said, the first one, like it was a shanked punt. I mean, it was like a freaking moon ball that just in it, like you said, guys running towards the sideline, hits him in the back. They
Bro, he
recover.
recovered the ball on the original line of scrimmage.
Yeah, the
Like
same line of scrimmage.
what?
It's basically just like got a fresh,
Yeah,
a fresh
what?
set of downs. Like it was insane. And the punter
The
himself recovered it.
punter,
And I'm
the
like,
punter.
it's like you know how backwards that is. That is insane.
Yes.
But then like you said, they what 3 and out again. They punt it again. The guy muffs it in crunch time. It's 2.5 minutes left at that point.
And they're in
You
field goal
have
range.
you you have to catch that ball.
Yeah.
you have to give your team the chance. And like you said, it's a one-score game. That was just a humongous miscue. And NC State only had 14 points at that point in
It
the
didn't
game. It's
play
not like
well.
offensively they were doing
Yeah,
anything.
exactly.
So, I mean, you definitely had a chance at the end of the game there. It's just that's frustrating.
Is Mike Norvell gone at the end of the season?
No, because it beat Bama. Sorry,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, no, no, but I think yes, but I just look at that Bama win is that was at the beginning of the season. It's been
Hmm.
a lot of games have been played since then. A lot of football has been played since then. So yeah, I mean, I can understand it. I can see it, but if I'm him, if I'm the AD, yeah, I'm finding me a new head coach.
I'll say this: the Florida State head coach has just as many in this season alone has just as many top 10 wins as James Franklin has had his entire career at Penn State. Just thinking about it like that.
That's fair. That's fair. Um, I think this is kind of off subject a little bit, but I think if I'm any head coach, I mean, if I'm any athletic director, the guy that I'm trying to get as my head coach is out there at Arizona State. Kenny
Mm.
Dillingham. Did you see this man has Jeff Sims playing quarterback and he's winning games?
Who? Who?
Exactly. 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 Like
Yeah.
last year, I think he was at Utah
Hmm.
and we knew how bad Utah was last year. It was
Hmm.
so bad they went to he's now their third string quarterback, but he was their backup last year. Zach Wilson's brother.
Oh, really?
And he played
Wow.
better than Jeff Sims. But Jeff Sims is at Arizona State. That boy had 225 rushing yards in the first game.
Ooh.
In his first game, he threw for like 150 and
Ooh.
he accounted for like 400 yards of offense by himself.
Yeah, that's wicked. That's wicked.
But then since then, he's been throwing the ball better. This man could
Mm.
not throw. He could not throw to save his damn life. But here he is at Arizona State. Kenny Dillingham, especially after what we saw him do at Arizona State last year
Mm.
against Texas, should be anybody's top coach. Like I don't think because I don't know who else you're gonna get that doesn't already have a job,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
damn sure don't want Brian Kelly. So,
No, you don't. No, you don't.
so
They're gonna have to call Urban Meyer back out of retirement.
Lord, please don't. We saw what he did in Jacksonville. He's the reason why Trevor Lawrence looks the way he does now. Okay, that is his fault. That is his fault, man. But let's pick some games around college football today. Oh, this is the shit that I be talking about though. I appreciate Missouri and Oklahoma for playing a real fucking football game in November, but this is the shit that I talk about with the SEC. Granted, the Big Ten's been doing it all season. They ain't played a lick of shit all season, all right? But this is what I'm talking about with the SEC. We are in November, and we got Alabama playing Eastern Illinois.
Hmm.
Bro, what are we
Hmm.
doing? What are we doing? Like, granted, I understand the Big Ten's been doing it all year. Ohio State's been doing it all year. But let's be consistent if we're gonna do it. Like let's be let's be consistent. All right. But number 22, Missouri, is on the road at Oklahoma today, and I think we got us a slugfest in this one. Brandon, who you gonna take in this one and why?
Yeah, I think Oklahoma is on upset alert in this one. They're coming off a big win last
One
week,
thousand percent.
so they might be rolling into this game thinking, "Oh, we got it, no issue." And then Missouri is that sleeping giant that's going to come, and if they're awoken, they're going to come with a big force. Um,
Mainly because Oklahoma, ever since John Mateer has come back from that hand injury, they just haven't been able to score points. Alabama really beat themselves last week with 3 turnovers. Alabama almost had 550 yards of offense. What's the name? Ty Simpson went for like 400 yards passing. So I think But granted, Oklahoma turns you over.
Yeah.
That's what they've been doing, and so yeah. But go ahead.
Yeah, just going off your point, whoever's going to control the ball more in terms of time of possession and is able to just even get a couple stops defensively should win this game. Whoever does that is going to be fine. I think Oklahoma will be fine in this, though. I'm going to take them.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go against you. I'm gonna take Missouri, just because I want them hoes to go down. Oklahoma. Oh, we've got Miami at Virginia Tech. I put this game on here for one particular reason. We all know they got a new head coach, and I think those guys in Blacksburg are going to be playing for something, and it might be to keep their jobs.
Yeah.
um, so I mean, I think Miami's going to win this one, but I think it could get it on the road at Virginia Tech. We know how loud that stadium can get. Um, I'm gonna take, I'm gonna take Virginia Tech in this one. I just
Ooh.
want to see something shake up.
I would love to see that happen, honestly. Now let me ask you a dumb question. So Franklin obviously got hired as a VTech head coach. Is he actively going into this game as the head coach, or is it still like an interim?
I still think it's the interim.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I would. That's what I would believe. But I do think he'll be sitting up in a press box somewhere watching this.
Yeah, because I don't know how it would work out. I don't remember a time a head coach being let go of one program and less than a month later he's coaching for another
Already
one
coaching.
in the
Yeah,
same season.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't remember a time of that ever happening. So even with or without Franklin, VTech has enough firepower to keep up with Miami. Now, granted, this is that same Miami team who has put up goose eggs before in games, so
Goose eggs.
it's been dicey at times. But
Yeah.
if Miami's even halfway on today, they should have no problem.
They still got Carson back at quarterback.
Yeah.
That's um yeah. I just but how often have we seen somebody lose their job that early in the season and get another one that quick? Like to lose a job and get a job before the season's over, like
Yeah.
we haven't seen that too many times. And I think Penn State's going to regret what they did big time. And I think they're already seeing it. They're only down they're down to 10 recruits this season.
Ooh, yeah. I saw a bunch of the decommitments from Penn State to go to commit actually to VTech because of Franklin.
Yeah, just like Virginia Tech, and they're in the ACC. They, I think, going into next year, they're already ACC championship contenders. Like, and I think it's a lot easier to win an ACC championship than it is a Big Ten championship,
Oh, for sure. 100%.
just because of the 2 to 3 teams that you have at the top of that conference are that damn good. Versus the
Yeah.
ACC, it's a lot of. I look at them in the Big 12 very much the same. You have a lot of middle of the pack teams.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, that just kind of beat up on each other. But USC is traveling. The Trojans are hitting the road and going to Eugene, Oregon to take on the Ducks. Who you got in this one, Brandon?
I'm gonna take USC in this one. I would love to
I'm
see
with you.
them. I would love to see them go up there and get the win. I'm blanking on their head coach's name right now, but I know he's a
Lincoln Riley.
yes, yes. He is a masterful offensive mind.
Hmm.
So I would love to see him just scheme up some stuff that would just fuck with Oregon's defense. I would love to see that. So I'm gonna take USC in this one.
No, yeah, I'm with you on that one. Imagine Dan Lanning dropping 2 home wins, ranked home wins in a season. I mean,
Mm.
good luck, Chuck. But I'm not a Dan Lanning. I used to be a Dan Lanning fan until he did or said what he said about Coach Prime and when they played Colorado. And it's like, bro, you clearly had the better team. Like,
Yeah.
we're not. This is guy's first second year coaching. Like, or is maybe their first year. Yeah, it's like, bro, you clearly have the better team. Like, why? What are we doing? But
Yeah.
that's neither here nor there. I'm with you on USC though. TCU at 6-4 is taking on 8-2 Houston. They'll be playing the Cougars. They Houston has Connor Wakeman, old Texas A&M quarterback. Can't really throw the football. Can a little bit. Um, I hope Sonny Styles can put up some points, and I think if they can score some points, they'll win this game.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good shout. I think we've seen Houston earlier in the season. They took on, Colorado. Just funny enough, we were just talking about them, but Houston in the game that I watched there, they seem defensively to fly around to the ball. They like to cause a lot of havoc up front in the trenches, linebackers blitzing, all that kind of stuff. If they can just get a couple of good schemes up front, obviously, and force TCU to be in a tough scenario, long down and distance scenarios, I think they'll be fine. I'm gonna take Houston in this.
Pitt on the road at Georgia Tech. Um, forget his. I forget his name. But you wanted to get your ass beat by 100. You got your ass beat by 100. All right. Pitt had a bad loss against Georgia Tech. Jeremiah Love might just be the best damn running back in the country.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know who's gonna argue with you on that one, but um, but Georgia Tech, the Rambling Wreck of Georgia Tech, I'm gonna take them to continue to roll and hopefully get them an ACC championship.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you there. I think after their loss to NC State, they've been able to bounce back, and still sitting at 9-1. They collect another couple wins here. They'll finish off the year. They'll be a really, really strong, um, hopefully top 12 team by then.
Yeah, please, like, like, do they got to get on their knees and beg to get into the playoffs? Like, bro, they're 9-1. They have a better strength of schedule and record than Notre Dame. But
Yeah,
here we are.
they
Here
have a
we
better
are.
yeah they have a better record than like 50, 60% of the teams in front of them.
Up
It's
front
it's
again.
it's crazy.
But here we are.
Yeah.
Here we are. And then over in the Big 12, BYU takes on Cincinnati. The Bearcats welcome in the Cougars. I'm going to. Cincinnati has been on a roll this year. They just dropped a few late. And that Big 12 just continues to beat up on each other. It wouldn't surprise me if Cincinnati pulled out this win, especially with your when they got Bear Bachmeyer. He's a freshman. He's been playing damn good football this year.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just take Cincinnati, man. I want to see these rankings shake up. Like I want to see some real movement, and I want to see what this weak ass excuse for a college football committee is going to do when shit gets real.
I'm right there with you, man. I'd love to see Cincinnati pull out this win. I think BYU is one of those teams that could be very similar to like a Penn State scenario where
Yeah,
they're ranked and they're good when they're up, but as soon as some SHIT hits the fan, they're going to crumble.
yeah,
Um, so I, like you said, I would love to see Cincinnati win this. If they get down early in this, BYU, if they gets down early, I think Cincinnati is gonna stay on top. So I would, like you said, I would love to see Cincinnati. I think BYU should win this one though.
yeah. They should, but I don't want them to. You got any Division 3 shout outs for us?
Well, the Division 3 season is officially wrapped up regular season wise.
Okay, no more
The
fighting.
No more fighting. No more. There's a few teams that got snubbed. One or a couple that I wanted to touch on was Ithaca College. I believe they're up in New York. Has been a dominant team. They didn't win their conference because that conference is just so strong, and they got left out because of the way that
Those
we were just
stupid
talking about.
auto bids work.
Yep, that's exactly how it is. So they didn't win the conference. They didn't end up getting the at-large bid. And the crazy thing is that they had a better strength of schedule. They had, the better wins and all that kind of stuff. And same thing for Adrian. If you remember Adrian, they were the team that we talked about that beat the Division 1 team at the beginning of the year.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
They got left out of the playoffs. I'm like,
That's
how are you
crazy.
gonna? How are you? They were 9-1 too. The only
With a
game that they
Division
lost.
One win is crazy.
Yes, they were 9-1, a Division 1 win. The only loss that they took was to the conference champ, and they got left out of the playoffs.
That's
It's
some whole.
insane.
Hey, at least though, as much as that's some whole shit right there, at least, at least I'll just say we got bad people picking this stuff all over the place.
All
Whether
over
it's
the place.
Division 1, 2, or 3, all over the
It,
place.
it's
Everybody
just
need to lose their job.
they're consistent. It's consistently bad. We'll give
Consistently
them that.
bad.
Yeah, yeah. But that's all I got.
At least you need that consistency because you know what you're gonna get. You can't be surprised. You can't be upset about it. You just gotta roll with the BS that they give
Yeah,
you.
exactly.
Don't really have any games in the NFL I'm trying to touch on. I will just give out some little shout outs to them weak ass Broncos for a big win over those over the Chiefs this past weekend. And the Bears, man. Y'all are in a fight up there in that NFC North. But I think this NFL season is going to get interesting. Baker Mayfield and them Bucks have kind of fallen off. I'm interested in seeing what everybody's talking about. The Eagles, like the damn sky is falling. Them boys are 8-2 and still rolling.
Yeah.
Um, Shoot, you look at the AFC. What is that? AFC East with the Patriots. Boy, that's going to be something. Um, because they got to worry about them Bills. But right now the Patriots are rolling, and who's playing better football right now? Drake May. Drake May's the best quarterback in that division right now. And him, Caleb Williams, and Jaden Daniels are they're making a case for probably the best quarterback class in the last 20 years or so.
Oh, easily,
Um,
easily.
so yeah, we'll keep an eye out on that some of this NFL stuff. We'll definitely be bringing a lot more of that to y'all as we get into the playoffs and college football and high school starts to kind of wind down. Um, but yeah, if you enjoyed the show, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Um, Drop playoff predictions for high school. He'll even drop some game predictions for these college games, and we can talk about them down in the comments. But we'll be back next week with some more football talk.